Could we see one Kilmarnock boss replace another, with Derek McInnes being talked about as the next possible Scotland manager? Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. Obviously, the Euros are now over for Scotland. The last 16 will start in a few days, but keep in mind, we're crap, so we won't be in it thanks to Steve Clarke and his negative tactics, his dinosaur style of football, and his reluctancy just to actually go for it, try and win a game. You know, the guy wanted to sit back and hope for the best, try not and concede, keep it tight, and if something happens, we might have a chance of going through, rather than actually playing football and trying to beat teams that, in my opinion, were more than capable of beating in Switzerland and Hungary. We're at the Euros. I think that's Steve Clarke's fault. And you know what? If he does get replaced, if he is sacked by the SFA, then he's only got himself to blame, because we heard a lot about how the 2000s was England's golden generation. I think we currently have Scotland's golden generation. And make no mistake about it, these players are getting older. You've got your Robertsons, your McGinns. These are players that are getting either close to their 30s or are now into their 30s, and maybe they've got 1 or 2 tournaments left at their best, you know, in their prime. After that, we could be looking at a bunch of aging players that we need to start, you know, rotating out. So I think Steve Clarke has done a good job as Scotland manager, but he's also had the best squad of players, in my opinion, that Scotland have produced in a very long time. And unfortunately, after getting us to international competitions, he has done nothing with them. But TeamTalk.com are reporting that Derek McInnes is being lined up as a replacement in case the 60-year-old is sacked. So apparently, according to Team Talk, Derek McInnes is the man that the SFA are looking at to replace Steve Clarke. And I think he'd be a decent appointment. Derek McInnes has proven himself in Scottish football. Probably should have won a few more trophies at Aberdeen, and I think McInnes would admit that. If you look at Aberdeen and Derek McInnes in his 9-year, 8-year run at that club, he did do a good job, but I think he probably should have added 1 or 2, you know, at least 1. He did get to some finals where he unfortunately lost to Celtic, you know, just, I guess, coming up against Celtic, most people would lose to them, and that was kind of during the period where they were running riot and they were winning everything, so he was unlucky. But I think he probably should have, you know, got over the line in at least one of those finals. So that's the only thing I have against Derek McInnes. In terms of his run at Kilmarnock, he's done a very good job, you know, pushing Hearts relatively this season for 3rd place, but finishing 4th and getting Kilmarnock European football is another fantastic achievement. So I think Derek McInnes would be a good appointment. However, he is not favourite with the bookmakers. That is actually David Moyes. So Derek McInnes is reportedly the man lined up at the moment if they need to replace Clarke. However, David Moyes is the odds-on favourite. He's 3-4 with the bookmakers, which is a 57.1 probability in terms of percentages. So you have David Moyes in the leading position, 3-4. Then we have Derek McInnes. Derek McInnes in 2nd place at 5-2, followed by Russell Martin 3-1, then Stephen Robinson 4-1, Rafael Benitez 9-2, which is kind of interesting. You got Alex Neil 6-1, and then the other names that are being mentioned here are Darren Ferguson, Frank Lampard, Duncan Ferguson, Brendan Rodgers, Neil Lennon, and Steve Bruce. Well, I don't think it's going to be any of those guys. I could see it being Moyes. I could see it being Derek McInnes. Outside of that, probably not. I think that's where I would draw the line. Would Alex Neil be a decent manager for Scotland? I could see him as an outside chance, but Russell Martin, probably not. Stephen Robinson, probably not. Rafael Benitez, I don't know why he is 5th favourite with the bookmakers. I personally just do not see it, but who knows? Someone must be betting him. Bookmakers must have some sort of inside knowledge. And, you know, I was never actually a big fan of Rafael Benitez. Like, he did well. I'm not going to deny it. But I think he is a bit overrated. Would I take him as Scotland manager? Sure, why not? Give him a go. If we're going to replace Steve Clarke, then who knows? I'm sure there's worse managers than Rafael Benitez, but I'm not quite sure what age he is these days. I'm going to assume that he is pretty old. He's not really had that much success, to be honest. Ever since leaving Liverpool, I know he went to Valencia, but I don't think he's done that well. So is he the man I want to be in charge of Scotland? I would prefer to keep a Scottish manager in charge of the nation. That's just how I feel. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel down below. And finally, regarding Steve Clarke, it is being rumoured that he will be facing a touchline ban after his post-match outburst. Senior figures at UEFA, according to the Scottish Sun, are furious the way he lambasted Argentine referee Facundo Tello, and it is being reported that he will face a touchline ban, which I don't know how many games it would be for, but I'm assuming multiple, so maybe 2-3 games, and that would probably come into effect for our Nation League games. So yeah, we could be without Steve Clarke. Could you imagine that? Imagine we were actually without Steve Clarke and we got back to winning ways, picked up a few wins in the Nations League without Steve Clarke down on the touchline. That would be interesting. But yeah, Steve Clarke, will he go, will he not? Probably put up for a poll, to be honest, and ask you guys who you think would be the best option to replace Steve Clarke. But I mean, at the moment, I can't really see past. I honestly, I can't really see past Mcinnes or David Moyes if it is going to be somebody other than Clarke. But I think Clarke will stay. Not that long ago, he signed a new extension. I just don't see the SFA really spending the money it would take to pay him off, essentially, and yeah, get us a new manager. So if I had to predict what's going to happen, I think that Steve Clarke will continue to lead the country, and I'm going to use the term lead loosely because, yeah, he didn't do a good job in the Euros, did he? But I think that it probably will be him. So that's it, guys. We'll see what happens. I'll catch you in the next one. Being Fog Football, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace.